I went to the drive-in, the back way from the north end, and I had a janitor there. And I told my wife, I'm taking the janitor home. We lived right off of, oh, it wasn't far, just off the highway. And when I came back, I'm coming down to go to this place. I got stuck right in front of the Fairhaven High School football field. Yeah. The water came up. I had water that day.
Yeah, because you're real close to the harbor right there.
So, what am I going to do?
This is in 54?
54. So I just turned I had a brand new car, I'll never forget. I just crawled over the island, went north, and I was in the insurance business, insured this gas station, put it on the lift, took the wheels off, washed everything out, saved my car. But I'll never forget that, 54 hurricane. I had a corrugated fence all around the drive-in. I found people were calling me, come and get your fence. At the end of Squanicut Neck,
really,
and all the way up in the north end of New Bedford.
It's going in the right direction.
They'd find these pieces of corrugated metal, and where the hell does this come from?
Yeah, I'm just thinking.
And then they'd talk, and people would say, that's from the drive-in, that's from the drive-in.
Yeah, that was a real mean one, too.
I went there to bring the janitor home, who was an elderly gentleman. And all of a sudden, you ever hear a million nails pull out at once?
Yeah.
Well, that concession stand had an overhang like this.
Yeah.
And when the wind caught that, it pulled the whole roof off.
Oh, and all the nails come flying through the air.
Oh, my God. I never heard anything like it. I kept holding on to the old gent, and when it stopped, I put him in my car and I took him home. That's when I got water on my wheels.
You had no warning about a hurricane like days before. I don't like the 38, the same thing. It just happened that day. Well, I was thinking, gee, it's kind of windy, and it turns into this Category 5 hurricane.
Well, I was in private school in Worcester in the 38 hurricane when the lights went out, and we all ran out, and the trees were coming down like you wouldn't believe. But the manager was a friend of mine because we did the Jimmy Fund together. And one day, we went to Boston to have lunch with Ted Williams and Kurt Gowdy. And on the way back, I was telling him about the seats and he wanted to see them. So I brought him down and he couldn't believe how comfortable these seats were. Better than the ones at the Olympics.
Well, what made your projection booth so well known?
Short throw. You know what that is?
No.
The light from here to there.
The
you
distance.
Go up on the stage and look at the booth and measure it. Because I had just gone widescreen. The frame is still there. So we had a picture that was absolutely gorgeous. The whole width of that stage and a short throw. So when they put the lights to it, believe me, it was like you could go and touch the people, eat right off their table.
Now, Mr. Roy, were you born here in New Bedford?
In New Bedford? Yes, I was.
With North End?
North End.
Well, because I'm a French Canadian.
So am I.
And I just found out this week, I read about the founders of the Sharpshooters Hall, and they said Adelard Tetreault. They spelt his name wrong.
That's your father?
No, my grandfather's brother. My grandfather was Henry Louis Tetreault. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know.
No? Because all the French...
I knew a lot of Tetreaults,
Yeah.
believe me. There was a big family of men that were friends of mine.
You don't want to show the X-rated movies in the North End?
No.
Don't try to get me in trouble there. Then he dropped dead. He was only a young man, 58 years old, something like that. And Don worked for an automotive company. So we also had the theater in Wareham and joined together. He was with me. So we decided that the rent was too much here, so we just folded it.
Yeah, well, you know what I'm curious about is the selection of the movies. Did they just send them to you?
No. I had I used to do all the booking myself. I go to Boston, say Tuesday and Friday, every week.
Okay.
As time went on, companies like this was the Affiliated Theaters Corporation in the Park Square building that did my booking. But they knew what I liked. I would go in maybe once a week. And we were always booked 2 or 3 weeks ahead of time.
Yeah. So you had to know your audience then, right?
Oh, I knew my audience. I knew what they liked and what they didn't
What
like.
they wanted action, right?
Oh, yeah. You know, if a kid raised hell and gave us trouble here, we would tell him he couldn't come in for a month or 2 weeks.
You'd bar him, yeah.
Bar him. And, you know, my help at the time knew every one of these kids. So that was the biggest punishment you could do. That way, in those days, we had one police officer on the street, and he would stand at the corner of Cove Street. Remember they had call boxes? He knew every kid, where they lived, and he would, if he brought them home,
that was a disgrace, right?
Maybe he gave him a shot in the ass, but the parents would do the same. So the kids knew better than to give me a hard time.
Yeah.
Once in a while, I remember once, on a Sunday afternoon, where a kid had a rubber band, some kind of slingshot, and he was shooting paper clips through the screen.
Oh, no.
Now, I had just spent a fortune putting a wide screen here. The frame is still there. So somebody caught him, you know, and brought him in here. And it was warm because the awnings on the 5 and 10, see, there was a 5 and 10 downstairs.
Yeah.
The awnings were what?
I'm his daughter, Liz Ledoux. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Daddy, this man taught me photography a long time ago. His name is Neil Alexander.
And she never learned anything?
Al Roy. I told him all about you.
Pleasure meeting you, sir.
He lived in Louisiana with his family, and they were there in Katrina, so he's relocated to Mattapoisett. My family also used to have a place at Point Connell a long time ago. So he's going to want to talk to you a little.
Okay,
Well, you're talking to this gentleman. Please, you were telling a story. Please continue.
Hey, Don Cuddy, Standard Times.
Don, Neil Alexander.
Okay.
How do you
live
do?
in Mattapoisett.
Oh, yeah. Okay, let's, please continue. We interrupted.
Yeah, okay, so you got the kid, you brought him in the office.
Oh, yeah.
He's just been shooting your screen to pieces.
My window was wide open. I had 2 triple windows there. The kid jumped out and went right through the awning. And when I came back in and saw, he was running up Water Street at 100 miles an
He
hour.
wasn't even hurt.
No, he went right through the awning. The awning had a big hole in it. That was funny. Jeez.
See, but you knew who he was, did you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. He probably got a good kick in the ass for that one, too.
Well, I didn't follow up. I figured the awning was enough to scare him, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But, boy,
Well, do you think that they can get this place back together?
I doubt it.
Yeah.
I doubt it. You know why? When they built this building, it was, I don't know who the hell the architect was, but they should have never. The trouble with this building, is you don't realize, is this is the first floor, second floor really, because there were 1, 2, 3. When I came here, there were 4 stores. There was a 5 and 10, there was a barber shop, there was the Orpheum cloak store, which was a woman's dress shop, and next to it was a meat market.
Yeah.
Now, the 5 and 10 wanted more space, so they didn't renew the lease for the barber shop, which was Baldo's barber shop that moved up on County Street. And I forget what, but they kill Water Street. We used to have a trolley car down the center of the street, parking on both sides. Helped everyone. Everyone was doing very well on this street.
So, sorry to interrupt you, but what do you think the main obstacle is to getting this back, or why do you think it might not come back?
Well, you'd have to spend so much money on this building, you might as well knock it down.
But you couldn't replace something like this.
I know, but who wants to replace it? Do you know anything being built today that they can't knock down the next week or the next month?